How's it going, folks? And welcome to this tutorial. This is going to show you a general idea on how to set up the ticketing system with the use of the bot YAGPDB.xyz. This is a very powerful tool that I recommend for server owners that have a busy server, or you believe that your server will become busy and you're worried about possible congestion of inquiries related to server concerns and other things. So the benefits of having a ticketing system is better organization of server reports and inquiries. It'll keep your server staff on the same page with the inquiries instead of them having to message each other back and forth based on inquiries that they get in their DMs, as it may be set up right now for some servers. It can reduce the congestion of DMs, as mentioned before. So it takes all of the inquiry openings out of your staff's DMs and into a ticket that is on the server itself. And also, it can increase turnaround times of inquiries being answered. So what that means is whoever staff is online at the time, they can answer that ticket, or all of the staff that are available at the time, they can see that ticket status and they can see the details of the ticket right there, instead of it only going to one person. And now that one person has to fill in the other staff. Now it's all in that one channel that all of the staff have access to. So with that, let's get started in setting things up. So as we have here, we have a server that I just created, and it's got, of course, my account in there, and it also has a test account. It is always good to use a test account with this just to make sure everything is set properly. And also just to notice that this is just one way how to do this. And this is the way that I recommend. But there are multiple ways you can do this and try to do something that fits your flow of operation. So with that, the first thing what we're going to do is we're going to set up the roles that we need to. Now, I've already set them up in advance, but just to look here is you have, of course, admins, and admins are usually the ones that you are entrusting to be able to configure your server how you need it to be. So that's what your admins would do. And they also may possess higher authority, such as actually kicking or banning individuals or posting updates or announcements based on how the server needs to change on your behalf. Moderators may also have silencing abilities. They may have kick or banning abilities. It all depends on the level of ranking that you want to do. But of course, moderators you would have as minimum. Admins, of course, is at your discretion. Then, of course, you need to bring in the YAGPDB.xyz bot, which I've already done. If you haven't done that yet, you can do that by going to YAGPDB.xyz, and then, of course, invite it into your server, get it all set up, and then when you come back, you'll need to bring this particular role to where it's at least just below your moderators. And then after that, you also want to create a suspension role. For this example, this is going to weigh into when a user needs to be silenced. So that's what this suspension role is going to be for. And what it's going to happen with it as we get into it is in each of the categories, and if all of your channels are synced to those categories, you're going to want to make sure that the suspension role does not allow the user who has this role to see any of the channels. But for this example, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to set some particular exemptions in that regard. So one of those, as we move on to the next set of things that we need to do, is we need to also set up a couple of categories and also some of the channels thereof. So one channel that I'm going to add right quick, that is going to be a rules channel. I'm not going to type anything into it, but it's just an example for this time around. And what I'm going to do for that one is actually set the permissions accordingly to where one, of course, I bring in my administrators as needed, and then I'm also going to bring in the suspension role. So what the suspension role is going to do for this one is you don't really have to put all this, but I do it for good measure. But the only thing I want for a person who needs to be silenced is I need them to be able to read the messages in the rules, because obviously if they're being silenced, then I want them to be able to review the rules so they can have a good understanding of what is expected to them when the silence is removed. But as far as everything else, all of that is going to be locked. Now, in the case of the other channels, there's two other channels that this is going to actually be affected in. And there's a channel for when we set up the ticketing system, and I'll show you soon, where one of it is get a ticket. So basically, I want them to still be able to send a ticket so they can talk to the moderators without DMing anyone. So when we go to that channel, this will be selected as well as reading the message. So these were the three options that will be set on that. And also another one, which will be ticket instructions, but that one, they will not be allowed to send messages. They will only be able to read the content. So with that in mind, we're going to save this as is, and we're going to continue. So now we're going to create a category, and that category can be anything you want that is themed to your particular server, but ultimately you want it to resemble something that as like a front desk or something, so the individuals that are in your server, they know exactly where they need to go to so they can open a ticket. The other reason why I recommend having a separate category is because when a member opens a ticket, the bot will create a new channel, and it'll create a new channel that is synchronized to the permissions set by that category. So by setting this helps to make sure that the channel remains private, because there's a couple of rules that we have to set up for that. So we're going to set that up there, and then what we're going to do is we're going to edit the category and set up the permissions. So of course the admins and the moderators automatically are in here. Then of course you may, and depending on how you have your things configured, again, test everything to make sure it's working properly and set the permissions as you need to. We're going to bring the suspension role in here as well to have a default. So for the everyone portion of this, because of the category and how it needs to work for when the bot makes a new channel, you want to X basically all of this out. You really don't have to. You could just set it to where they cannot see, which is read or send messages, but I just do this for good measure. So we're just going to X all of this out under the everyone. Now, if you have a primary role, such as when your members first come in and then they acknowledge, they may do like a reaction base of acknowledgement. You need to check also to make sure that when a ticket is open, that usually the members list, that only the moderators and that particular profile that opened the ticket is there in the members group. If the entire members of the server can see that channel, you have a configuration problem and you need to start blanking that out to fix that. So now that we've got the everyone set up, now of course we want to do the same thing for suspension. And again, we're gonna change some of the factors of the actual channels that will be in this category, but this is the starting point to make sure that the channel is inaccessible to other users when the bot creates the ticket channel. So with those preliminaries set up, now we're going to add some channels. So the first channel, of course, is, let's say, get a ticket. So this will be the channel that the members will come to when they need to open a ticket. So the permissions for this that I recommend is they can read the message, because they have to be able to see it, and then they have to be able to send the message. As far as reading the message history, I don't recommend allowing them to see that, just in case you got any snoopers in it. So if they were not part of the original message, they should not be able to see it. As far as the suspension role goes, you also want it to be able to read and send the message, and that's it. So with that, Now we're going to move on to the next channel, and that one's going to be basically ticket instructions. So what the ticket instructions channel does is it shows the members the process of actually opening up the ticket, what your procedure is, not only how to open the ticket, but also what to basically do throughout the entire process. So it'll give them the summary of the entire process. This is the one for my particular server. And if you would like to copy this, that's very much okay. So if you just want to pause the video here and just write all that down, by all means, you're welcome to do that. And with that, we're going to continue. So for this particular channel, you only want the members to just be able to read this. You don't want them to be able to comment in here or anything like that. So for the everyone, it'll just be read messages, and it'll also need to be read message history. Those are the only two that you need to put in there. Same thing for the suspension role. You just read the messages and read message history. And that'll be that. Some others you can put in here, and this is specifically for your moderators, is they may not remember all of the commands for the bot, so I recommend a ticket commands legend. And this will share just the list of commands for the bot. And to set this one up is, of course, you will need to make sure that everyone in suspension cannot see this, but only that your moderators and administrators will be able to see this. And ultimately, you'll want to set it up, and you can if you need to where you can set it up to where no changes can be made to this, that it's just only looking at it. But for this example, we don't have to go through all that. So it's not much, but one thing also to note is to execute these commands, you have to do it in the actual channel that the ticket was opened. When a ticket is opened, anything typed in that channel, anything posted in that channel of the ticket is going to be archived. So that's one of the powers of this system, is the organization. But we're going to get to that soon. So with that, we're going to move forward. So the next thing we want to do is set up a few channels in your administration section. Some of you may even have a section for, or a category for, bot logs and stuff, and that's completely fine. So for this example, we're going to put it all in the same category. So the first one we're going to put in there is moderation bot commands, or mod bot commands. And just like the legend for the ticket system commands, we're going to do the same for the modbot commands. But for this one, we're also going to permit, and this is by your choice only, but I permit for my staff to use this also to actually type out the commands. So what I actually do is I will actually pin this in here so it's easy for them to find. So this section is them for just to type out all the commands they need to, and then at that point they can use the legend in the pin messages to be able to find the command that they need to. And if you want to copy this, it's very well okay for you to do that. But ultimately, yeah, this is designed to be open to your moderators so they can type in what they need to. It looks like there's one missing, so let me fix that right quick. Okay, moving on. We also want to create a channel for ticket status. This gives us the ability to know exactly what tickets are still active and what tickets are closed. You can put this either in this section, or you can put it in the service ticket session and just make sure it's accessible to your staff only. In this case, I'm actually going to put it down here. This could be good too if your staff wants to collaborate real quick on how they're going to handle what ticket, especially if you have multiple tickets. The next channel is what's called ticket archives. And then another channel after that, and this is optional, is incident reports. And I'll talk about one reason why to have this. And then the final one is the bot logs. And I will share about that soon. Okay, so under the nominal cases of this, it looks like we've got everything, but again, testing everything is important, and that'll help us to find out whatever bugs that we need to work out. So for the time being, what we'll do is we'll head over to the control interface of YAGPDB. We'll head down to Tools and Utilities, and the first thing we'll set up is the ticket system itself. So we'll just enable it. And then, of course, we have options down here, such as roles for people considered as admins. In this case, it'd be admin. And then for mods, of course, moderators. And then channel category to create ticket channels in. So that, as I was saying before, having a specific category for the bot to make the channel is important. And then a channel to send closed ticket transcripts and attachments in. So in this case, that will be ticket archives that we created earlier. So after a ticket is closed, the bot will delete that channel, but it'll also archive all of those transcripts into a file compilation. In this case, these two options down here give you that particular option. So in this case, to create text files, which I always recommend to turn those on. And then channel to send closed ticket transcripts and attachments for admin only tickets. So if you do have an admin structure in your server, you can set a ticket to actually be admin only. And what it does is it removes the moderator rank. So now it's only just the admins and the users that are involved. So if that was the case and you want to archive tickets specifically for administrators, you can come back to your administration section and you can create a channel that you could say is admin tickets. And of course, you set the permissions for it accordingly. And then that would be one for that. Now, because this does not update in real time, let's save all of our settings here. We can reload the page and see we got everything saved from that point. And then we can also include admin tickets. So if you had to create a channel that you hadn't created yet while setting this up, create the channel, save the settings that you currently have already done in YAG, and then reload, and it'll show that channel. Then, of course, to send ticket status updates in, we made a channel for that too, called ticket status. So we can set that parameter for that. Okay, so your ticket system is pretty much set up. So what we can do to test it is we can actually go to our test account. And as you can see, it can see to get a ticket and it can see ticket instructions, but it cannot see any of the other information, which is what we want. They can see ticket instructions, and of course, the account cannot type in this region, in this particular channel. It can only see it. So in this case, the command is, and this is actually from my server, but you can change that to the channel that actually reflects the actual channel. But you can go, so the command is minus ticket open and subject. So in this case, you can say ticket space open space, and the user can say something like that. Okay. The third field is the subject. So as you can see here, the YAG has created a ticket, and you can see a channel has been created. So then at that point, and there's this message always comes up here. Now you can edit the message a little bit. So if you go to this section down here, as far as I know, this is the only text that you can edit. I've tried editing the other text and it has not liked it. But as far as I know, this text you can't edit to say whatever you'd like. And then, of course, save it when you're done. So, of course, with your member who's making a report, they can start typing out what they need to. And of course, as you can see, I'm available in here. And if you had moderators and admins, they could be in here too. And just to show you what it would be if you want to escalate this to admins only, that down here you can say, you can simply type ticket admin only. So if I was to do that here, it removes the mod from the ticket, and now it's just the admins. Then from that point, once you're done, of course, you could do ticket close, and you can give a reason saying conflict resolved, just whatever you want to put there. As you can see, YAG has closed the ticket, has deleted the channel, and as you can see here, has archives. So under admin tickets in this case. So as you can see here, you have a transcript, and that is saved in a text file. So anything like Notepad will open it, possibly WordPad. If it's on Mac OS, it's most likely going to be TextEdit that would open it. Then of course under ticket status, you have this case here where it says, ticket number 2 opened, and then of course the subject, and then of course who closed the ticket and the reason for it. So that's basically the ticket system. And I would say ultimately, if there's any particular channels you would need to silence, obviously you want to silence this one. So you can silence that one and mark it as red. Ticket instructions, that one most likely will be hit. So you can silence that one, silence that one. I would say at your discretion, any of these that you wish to silence. But ultimately, I leave them active, such as the ticket status, because I want to know what tickets are, the status of the tickets are. I would say under ticket archives, I would probably silence that channel. Admin tickets, you can even change that to admin ticket archives, since it archives admin tickets. So I want to thank everyone for watching this video. I hope this tutorial was helpful to you. If you like what you saw this time around, maybe consider leaving a like. And if you'd like to see more, maybe consider subscribing. Let me know in the comments what else you would like for me to do as far as Discord tutorials, and I'll see what I can do in the futures with that. So until next time, happy mixing, everyone.